Today we are looking at Glencoe Math Course 2, Lesson 3.1 on integers and absolute value. So, the first thing that we have to do is figure out what an integer is and what absolute value is. Has anyone ever heard of an integer before?
No.
Yes,
I
did.
So let's raise a hand if you have heard of the word integer. Okay? Hands down. Raise your hand if you know what an integer is. Okay? Can somebody tell me, what do you think an integer is? Yes, ma'am.
It's like it could be a negative of the opposite number or like just a positive number.
Okay? Yes, sir. What do you think an integer is?
More than one way of doing math. I mean the problem.
Okay? Anybody else? Okay. Well, we need a definition for the word integer before we can work with it. So in the green work zone space on page 192, we're going to write out a definition for integer. An integer is a non-decimal value that can be positive or negative or zero. We are including the word zero because zero it's not positive and zero is not negative. Because zero is neither positive nor negative, we have to include that so that we know that zero is also an integer. Yes, sir. Can you get what? Grab them from my closet real quick. Yes, sir. So, if we're working with non-decimal values, can we have a fraction?
Yeah. No.
No, we're not going to have any fractions. Can we have a decimal?
No.
No. So everything that we're going to be working with
Is a positive.
will not have any extra little bits. Okay, so we won't have extra bits. Everything will either be a whole number that's positive, or its negative counterpart, or it will be zero. Okay? Now, integers can be graphed. And that's what example 1 talks about. Graphing integers. Let's say that I had a number line. They're a little excited there with my 3. Okay. So we have I have a number line from negative 3 to positive 3. If I wanted to graph negative 2, and I'm actually looking at example 3, I'm sorry. But my example isn't in example 3. If I wanted to graph negative 2, what would I do? Yes, ma'am. What do you think?
You'll go over 2 places.
Okay, and then,
Like, go up whatever number.
okay, do I have anything that I can go up?
Oh, no.
No, so I would just go over negative 2. What would I do at that point? Would it just like hang out?
No.
No?
Yeah, it would just hang out.
I'm just going to hang out at negative 2? Okay.
No.
It's by itself.
No. You need some numbers before it.
So what would I do at negative 2?
Make it a positive.
Not quite.
Send it
Like,
down to
bring
R.
it forward.
Am I going to put anything at that point?
Yes?
What am I going to put there?
I mean, a dot.
A dot. Okay, so I would put a dot at because I was going to graph -2.
Oh, a dot plot.
That's not easy.
Okay, I would put a dot at -2.
I know stuff.
There you go. What if I was going to graph on a number line +3? Yes, sir.
You would
Oh.
go that way on the side.
Okay, I go that way, and then I would do what?
Grab.
Where?
-2.
I'm looking at 3.
3 distance.
Okay, and I'm gonna put a dot where?
To the right of the 3.
To the right of the 3, so I put it like here.
No, on top.
Okay, so I would put a dot at 3. Thank you. So I would put my dot at the number 3. Our negative numbers are always going to be on the left side of 0. Our positive numbers are always going to be on the right side of 0. The further right a number is, the greater the value. The further to the left it is, the smaller the value. So which one's bigger, -1 or -3?
-3. I mean, -1.
Negative 1.
-1 is bigger because it is further to the right.
Yeah.
-1 is bigger because it is further to the right. Okay? Now let's go back and look at example 1 and 2 because I accidentally went in the wrong order. Example 1 says an average temperature of 5 degrees below normal. I need to translate that, or I need to write that as a number. How would I write 5 degrees below normal as a number? Yes, ma'am.
Like 5 degrees. Like do the same thing you just did.
Not quite. What's my number in that problem?
-5.
You're saying -5. Why would it be -5?
Because it's below normal. Normal
Okay.
is 5, right?
So, because it had the word below, you're going to say that it's negative?
Yes.
That's absolutely correct. Because of that word below, it could be below normal. It could be below 0. It could be below the Earth's surface. It could be below sea level if we're talking about elevation. Below is going to tell us a negative. Above would be positive. Okay, so let's look at example 2. Example 2 says what? Can I get a volunteer?
Wait.
Yes, sir.
Hold on.
What? Yes, sir. Example 2.
Graph and label.
Hold on. You're on the wrong page. Here.
Average rainfall of 5 inches because it represents above normal.
Okay, so an average rainfall of 5 inches above normal. So how would I write 5 inches above normal?
It would be a +5.
It would be +5. Do I have to write a plus sign in front of it to show that it's positive?
No,
Yes.
no, you don't. No.
Stop. Stop. I don't have to. Could I though?
Yes.
Yes, I could. But I do not have to. It would get really old writing +5 and +8 and +7 for every positive number that we had.
+5.
Okay? It would get really old doing that really quick. So we do not have to write a plus in front of our positive numbers. Instead, it was decided that we will just write a negative or a dash in front of our negative numbers. Okay?
Because if you didn't, they'll think it's positive.
Right, because if we don't, then we'll think that it's positive. So, as we're working, if our answer is supposed to be negative and you don't put that negative sign there, Do I know that it's supposed to be negative?
No.
No, so that would be marked wrong. Because there's a difference between my negative 2 and a positive 2, isn't there?
Yes.
There's a big difference. And the larger our number is, the greater the difference between the two is. Okay? Does anyone have any questions?
No, ma'am.
This is
Okay.
easy.
There's one more thing that we need to talk about, and that's absolute value. Absolute value, you may have heard of before, but absolute value is the distance the number is away from 0. Okay? So absolute value is the distance a number is from 0 on a number line. Can distance be negative?
No.
Yes,
Yes.
it can.
Hold on. Think first. Can distance be negative? And guys,
No.
No.
I didn't. Hold on, you guys. Please write this in the green work zone space on page 193. On page 193 in the green work zone space. If you already put it on page 192, that's okay. But you need to write down what absolute value is. So, can distance be negative? Raise a hand and tell me what you think. Yes, ma'am.
No.
You think no, why not?
Because when you count the spaces, how can that be negative?
Okay. Yes, sir.
When you mention distance, there's no forward or backwards.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Cause distance is like how far you go, and if you're going far, you can't go the other way.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
So, in distance, distance has to be a positive value. So if I'm looking at negative 2 is 2 spaces from 0, correct?
Yes.
Okay? Then the negative would refer to our direction, not a quantity. Alright? So sometimes when we are reading a problem, the direction might be in a negative direction. Okay? With absolute value, if we're looking at the distance from 0 on a number line, can our answer be positive can our answer be negative if we're finding the absolute value?
No.
No, because distance cannot be negative. Let me say that one more time in case your brain shut off for just a second. Okay? Absolute value of a number is going to be positive. Okay? Let's look at, I want us to look at example 5. Okay? Example 5 says the absolute value, and that's what those lines mean, the absolute value of negative 5 minus the absolute value of 2. So these bars going up and down, that means absolute value. Instead of writing out the absolute value of, we use those 2 bars. So what is the absolute value of negative 5?
5.
5, because negative 5 is 5 spaces from 0. What is the absolute value of 2?
2.
2. 2 is going to be 2 spaces from 0. What is 5 minus 2?
3.
3. So, if we see a problem like this, do we need to be scared of it?
No.
No.
They just got the bars on it.
Right. Those bars, when we first see it, it can look kind of daunting. It can look kind of scary. But once we know what to do with it, it's easy peasy.
So you just
Because 5 minus 2 is easy peasy.
So you just basically take could that be mental math?
Yes.
Okay.
It could be mental math, yes. When we have little numbers. If we have big numbers, we're not going to use mental math. Now, I have a question for you. Because we said that the absolute value was always going to be positive. What if I had this? What if I had negative absolute value of -7? Would that be positive or negative?
Negative.
Positive.
Positive.
Raise a hand if you think negative. Raise your hand if you think positive. Okay.
Oh, I meant positive.
Okay. All right. So, the absolute value of -7 is what?
7.
7. Can I just eliminate that negative sign?
No.
No.
See,
So my answer
well, I
would
was
be.
right.
So then my answer would be negative 7. Here's. If the negative is on the outside of the absolute value sign, then our answer is still going to be negative. If the negative is on the inside of the absolute value sign,
It's going to be positive.
it would be positive. Okay? So, pay attention. Guys, a lot in this chapter is attention to detail. Such as if something is on the outside or on the inside of parentheses. On the outside or on the inside of a negative sign. Okay? We're going to have to pay attention to those little details in this chapter. Does anyone have any questions about what we've gone over today?
No, no.
All right.
Can we stop?